Hey everyone, I'm Ms.Murray and welcome to Wondering Wednesday. Today's segment is going to be So You Want to Be a ... where we interview someone that is in a really interesting career. So when people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You might have some ideas because of the cool people we talked to right here. So today we're going to be talking to an amazing artist named Terra. Terra is going to tell us about their art and what it is like to make art. So I think all of my budding artists out there will really enjoy this one. Let's get on to the interview. Hello everybody and welcome to Wondering Wednesday. I'm here today with Terra, who's an artist, and she's going to be talking to us today about her awesome art. So thank you for being here, Terra.
Hello!
So let's just jump right in, right? So what inspired you to become an artist?
So I was always the arty kid, but this is the silliest response, but when I was in 5th grade, I got really obsessed with Sailor Moon. And part of what that opened up to me was the ability that like girls could make comics of anything. Sailor Moon was I loved comics growing up, but Sailor Moon was one of the first comics that I saw that wasn't a superhero comic. I mean, it is a superhero comic, but it's not like Batman, Superman, American superhero comics. And it sort of showed me that like you can make a comics about friends hanging out and being teenagers and stuff like that, and that girls could make those comics and that you could make them in black and white. You didn't have to have like fancy computers and stuff like that. But what really got me crawling is I was trying to impress a boy, and the boy ended up my best friend for a long time, but the art stayed around a lot longer than that. So sometimes we discover things through really silly means. And I'm very much not the kind of person who would ever draw to impress a boy anymore. So it's a very silly story to have started with.
Yeah, but it's a starting place. You gotta start somewhere. So what's your favorite part about drawing, comics, art, all that stuff?
So, I mean, I'm just a super big nerd about everything. I'm a super big nerd about art. I'm a super big nerd about comics and anime and everything. And I love the way that, like I said before, comics are super accessible storytelling formats. Like, you can tell all sorts of stories. You don't have to worry about, like, budget concerns of, can I do a space opera? You can tell really personal stories, you can tell really big stories, and you have a way that you are very intimately telling something, like you're controlling exactly what the reader sees, exactly how you guide them through the story. You can hide things from them, you can trick them, and I just really love the way that communication goes back and forth and building that communication and telling stories in that layered sort of way.
So, okay, I mean, definitely comics and storytelling is really popular with kids nowadays. So it's just really cool seeing the story through the pictures and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So what's your least favorite part?
So the hardest part about being an independent artist is money. And that is one thing that you really do have to, if you want to become an independent artist, think about, is, you know, maybe taking some business classes and just being very smart about where it's going to come from. For a long time, I held down a day job, and finding a day job that allows you to work and fulfill your, you know, the needs you have while still having time to make creative stuff. And I think one of the things that was really good for me to learn, kind of having that struggle, was like the nice thing about art is it's always there. So if you have, you know, there were times when I had to get a day job that didn't give me time to make art. And when I got time again, the art was still there. And that was something that was very reassuring to me to realize.
So what kind of training? Did you go to school for art? Did you have to get any degrees or anything?
So I got my bachelor's of fine art in drawing, and I think that there's a lot of good reasons to go to art school. There's a lot of cool things you can learn, and one of the best things about art school is it forces you to learn things outside of your comfort zone, which with art, everything you do makes what you do better. So like, I don't like sculpture. I had to take sculpture class. It made my drawing better, and it's something I never would have done on my own. But you also don't have to do that with art, and that's really cool too, is like, especially with YouTube and things like that, you can get a pretty solid art education not going to a traditional college. So it really depends on what you're looking for. I really appreciated going to college, but it's not something you have to do to be an artist.
Okay, and that's good to know, because I mean, college can be expensive. So, and if you're already really talented and you can learn new things through other means,
exactly,
you don't have to go to college.
Exactly. And there's so much good resources. There's a lot of jokes in art circles that like kids today are so much better than we were. But a lot of that is because you guys have so much access to, like, you could learn everything I learned in college by sitting around and watching YouTube for like a year. And that's crazy. And it would take some work to find the right things, but like, it's so cool that you can do that. And so if you're interested in art, don't feel like you have to wait to college to start filling things out, and then that'll give you a better idea of if your kind of art needs college when you get to that time in your life.
That's a good way to put it, figuring out if your art is the art that needs college or you know, can be YouTube or just your brain.
Exactly. Like if you're already painting better than Picasso and you want to be a gallery artist, you don't need to do that. But if you want to be like an illustrator and learn business skills and learn, you know, the way that you work in the illustration business, even if you are already a good illustrator, you'd still want to go get those courses. So it all depends on, you know, what your path is.
That was already my next question's about advice. It looks like you've already given some good advice. So is there any other good advice?
So this is a very important thing if you want to be a professional artist. So the first thing I'll say is being a professional artist is different than being an artist. There are things you have to do as a professional artist, like sometimes the art you make isn't fun. You can't necessarily ditch like when I'm making my own paintings, if I get halfway into it and it looks awful, I can just be like, you know what? I'm going to skip this one and start the next one. I'm going to paint over it. If I'm working for a client, I can't do that. I have to keep working on it until it makes sense. I have to take their feedback even if I don't like it. So the first thing I would say to do is to really think, you can be an artist, a very good artist. You can have gallery shows and stuff like that and have it as, I don't want to say a hobby, but like it can be part of your life that isn't your career. And for some artists, that is really important for them to do because they want to make only their art, and making other people's art just, it doesn't work for them. So I think that would be an important thing to figure out. And that if you only want to make your art, that doesn't mean like, oh, I have to give it up. That just means you have to figure out like different things you're going to do. And a really good example of that in comic books is Hellboy. Mike Mignola, he wanted to make it the way he wanted to make it. He wanted to own it. Whereas if you work for like DC or Marvel and you make something, DC and Marvel owns it. So he went out there and he made his own company. And that is why that story is so good, is because he never had to, you know, make any sacrifices to an editor or have anyone change his story. He owns it. And my second piece of advice, sort of related to that, is if you do go into professional art, make sure that you figure out and keep a little bit of art for yourself, that you don't sell to anybody, that you don't plan to make money with, whether that's like, so like I make Art Nouveau style illustrations and comic books, and that's what I do professionally. For myself, I do like craftier stuff that's more like hands-on, like embroidery and like painting like objects and stuff and making like little one-of-a-kind things, and that stuff, like I might sell it if somebody wanted it, but that's not what I'm making it for. I'm making it for me. And I think that really helps as a professional artist, not running into burnout from, God, I'm so tired of making stuff for other people. I'm so tired of my art always being for someone else. Like, you can just keep a little part for yourself. And I think that's a really important thing to do. And my last piece of advice, if you want to be an artist, draw all the time. Get a big, cheap sketchbook that has like 250 pages and, you know, a ballpoint pen, and keep it with you and sketch your friends and that flower and, You redraw your favorite comic book panel and draw that building over there. Just constantly be drawing something. Try to draw for at least 5 minutes a day. And even if the drawing you make, and that's one of the reasons I think it's a really good thing when you're starting to do ballpoint pen, sometimes it's not good. That's okay. That's learning too with art. Like, failing in art is just as much learning to do it as succeeding in art. And you're going to fail a lot of times before you succeed. So it's really good to just do it all the time. So you start getting all those little failures out of the way, and then everything starts to make sense. Because there's a lot of classes you can do in everything, but at the end of the day, the thing that's going to make the difference between a good artist and a bad artist, it's not talent, it's not the school you went to, it's the amount of time that you held paper to pencil.
I think that's good advice all around for any type of art, like even beyond drawing. You just got to keep practicing, keep doing it until you are happy with what you have. But even then, you're never always happy, right? You always got to keep improving.
Right. And that's also a really important thing to learn in art and everything. Like, it is okay to both enjoy where you're at and realize that at the same time you want to keep getting better.
That's awesome advice. So let's go ahead and have some fun now.
Okay.
With our lightning round. So here they come. If you could visit any place in the world, where would it be?
One of my best friends lives in Kyoto right now, and he just bought a house there, and I messed with my mic. I would love to go see him very, very much right now, and I've never been to Japan, so I've never even been out of the United States except for, like, the Bahamas, which only, like, half counts. So yeah, I would really like to go visit him in Kyoto.
Japan is popular with this lightning round question, which is good. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I would love Mystique's power to shapeshift, and like, I don't even know that I would shapeshift that much. I'd just be like, I want pink hair today. Cool. I want purple hair today. Cool. I want green skin today. Yeah. Like, that's how I'd probably use it most. That said, flight, like superhero flight, that might just win out too. Like, I want to be a human drone. Like, I love how they like fly and do those videos, and I'm like, that. I don't want to parachute. I don't want to fly an airplane. I want to be a human drone.
So who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero is Sailor Moon. And then my favorite American superhero is Nightcrawler from the X-Men.
Good choices. I got Sailor Saturn behind me. So, yeah. Favorite movie?
My favorite movie right now is a cosmic horror movie called Annihilation. And then my all-time favorite movie is Speed Racer, the live-action version by the Wachowski sisters, which is amazing and super brightly colored and greatly underappreciated.
I have to agree with you there. Very unappreciated movie.
Right.
Love it.
Saw like 10 times in theaters.
Now I might need to go brush off the dust off the DVD and watch it. Favorite song?
My favorite song is a song called Lightning Strikes by the band Snow Patrol. It is a 16-minute song, but the part I really love is the first. It's like actually like 3 songs squished together as like a suite, and it's the first part. And Snow Patrol's like a chill Canadian band, chill rock.
I'll have to look that one up because I've only heard, I guess, does it Chasing Cars, their popular Grey's Anatomy song? I think that's one of them I've heard so far.
I love that song, but that song is weirdly not very representative. Or it's not, but like, yeah, they have a lot of much prettier music.
Okay, noted. We'll go to Spotify later. Favorite cartoon character?
My favorite cartoon character is gonna be, no one's gonna know who this character is, but it's a character named Subaru Sumeragi, who has been in the anime Tokyo Babylon, X, and Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, but like a sequel. It's not like the main TV show, it's like an OAV about it. I mainly love him from the manga that he's in, but I love him so much that he wins every category.
Favorite animal?
Armadillo, although I've never seen a live one, which is really heartbreaking to me.
Maybe one day.
Hopefully. Which is funny because from my understanding, people who have seen live once never want to see another one again.
That's interesting.
They're like pests down in the South, I guess. Everybody's like, oh, they just dig up my garden, and I'm like, give them all to me.
They can dig up my garden anytime they want.
Right? They can have the whole thing. I don't even want it.
Hey, favorite food?
Sushi. Specifically, really good salmon nigiri. Oh my god.
Favorite drink?
My favorite drink is, let's see, that's a hard one. Actually, I think my favorite drink is a brown sugar steamer, which is like they just like steam milk and put a little flavoring in it on like a cold day. Oh my gosh, that, yeah.
And your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji is the like screaming one that looks like the scream. I use that one all the time, like both when it's appropriate and when it's hilariously not appropriate.
That is a good one. Okay, so that ends all of the awesome questions I have. I really appreciate you coming and talking about your art and all that stuff. So yeah. So thank you
guys.